Hello, IGN. My name is Jose Otero, and I am here with Brian Altano once again.
Hi, Jose.
And we are playing Castlevania, my favorite GBA Castlevania. Whoa, I almost said Circle of the Moon. Freudian slip. Aria of Sorrow.
This is my favorite, too. This is
Yes.
by far the best.
So
it took him 3 attempts to nail it. I thought the first 2 attempts were great, but this is the one that was just like, hot damn.
They got it right.
Yep.
So where Circle of the Moon was too dark, and Harmony of Dissonance was too colorful.
Yep.
And also, we didn't mention in Harmony of Dissonance, music, not so hot. Not so great. Sound too compressed. Aria of Sorrow is the best blend of everything they learned between those two games. So the year is 2035. I love that about it, too. It's one of the few Castlevania games that takes place in the future. In fact, there are even futuristic weapons like the Silver Gun, for example. You can equip Soma Cruz, the main character. Although, also, by the way, Cruz, I always hoped he was Spanish in my mind.
I think
he has
that's
to be.
a Spanish name.
He better be. But Soma Cruz, who is a foreign exchange student studying in Japan, whatever, he ends up being pulled into this world. And he finds out essentially that he might have some dark powers in him, and it just runs from there. And you run into certain Castlevania mainstays along the way. But this game, bar none, the best GBA Castlevania of the trio, came out in 2003. So let's jump in. Oh, and there was the Soul Train. Do you remember that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, not the Soul Train, the Soul Train. Different show.
That very different show. Extremely different show.
Cut to a clip of Soul Train right now.
Oh, man. I don't know if we have the rights to that.
Yeah, we probably
Well, we are going to the dance hall.
Oh, wow.
Let's bring the
How
Soul
about
Train
that?
there.
Okay. So if you'll notice, I'm at 30%, and I haven't put in that much time. And that's because with Aria of Sorrow, and I'm just bringing up the map here, the castle is actually smaller than the other two games.
Yes.
But they get a lot more mileage out of it that I feel is positive. So as you can see, I'm playing as Soma.
This looks nothing like a dance hall.
A whip. I have a whip sword right now as my main weapon.
Which is pretty awesome.
It is very awesome. Let's see. I also liked Soma's design. Just he has this flowing trench coat. And they brought this character back for one more game. They did Dawn of Sorrow on the DS. And that is another excellent Castlevania game.
Jose, I'm going to say something very outlandish, and maybe you'll believe me. But I feel like this game kind of gives Symphony of the Night a run for its money.
Ooh, okay, you need to back that up.
Really?
That's interesting. I like it. Like, why? What makes you
I think
that?
it's like, so that one's obviously my favorite, but I think this is probably my second favorite, the second best in that tier. And
okay, so tell me why.
I just think it nails a lot of what Symphony of the Night tried to do. I think the main characters are awesome. I think the sub-weapons are awesome. The setting is really cool. The castle has a lot of personality. And the bosses are incredible. And there's also, like, it does a lot... like you said before, it gets a lot of mileage out of the castle. And I won't really get into exactly why.
When you can see, like, even
stuff like this is awesome.
The juice sprite is... not juice. Soma sprite is actually much smaller than the last one.
Yeah.
And it feels really reactionary. It feels like they just figured out, like, hey, how do we get the best mileage out of what we're making? How do we get the best mileage out of the castle, which is huge? Or we wanted, maybe huge is not the best way to go. What if we went smaller? What if, in this system too, this was called the Soul, let's see what it's called again? Soul Set, right? Yeah. So let's look at it real fast. So you can basically equip enemy souls to get specific abilities. So you have, for example, Summons a Spirit that will fight evil. If I use the Ghost, I can equip Skeleton to throw bones, Wing Skeleton to throw spears. Ghost, we just saw, use attack, supersonic waves, etc. But it did add a lot of variety to the combat. And it didn't feel quite as gimmicky, whereas DSS, like that random drop nonsense from Circle of the Moon, was not cool.
No.
And Harmony of Dissonance, they do have cool attack combinations you can get, but ultimately I feel like there's way more variety here, and I feel like maybe they even thought of sacrificing the castle size to just have a better economy in a sense. So I'm using flying armor right now, which slows down
That's what I do.
distance.
I do really like about the customization options in this game is that moving these different souls around, as you can see, it kind of affects some of your stats on the right.
That's right.
So you could basically, if you wanted to get something rare, you could up your luck for an hour and go and grind and kill a bunch of things. If you just want to be really powerful and beat a boss or something like that, you have that option too.
Yeah.
There's just so much customization here, and it's like, while it does look sort of simple compared to some of the. 'Cause I feel like you sort of hit on it before, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was like the graphics and the music, and one game in the series, or the last two games in the series, sort of played with how far they could push each one, but with each one of those steps, they had to pull another element back.
Yep,
but I think this one sort of found a sweet spot between everything, and I think that the sprite work in this game is great. It's very creative. Some of the attacks you get are just awesome.
Yep.
Like some of these bad guys, just watching them light up, like even the torches and stuff.
Yeah, and it's not lit up in a way that's obnoxiously lit,
Yeah.
like what happened in Harmony of Dissonance, and that stuff I think is definitely worth bringing up. And I feel this, like they learned and they finally just figured out, okay, how do we outdo Symphony of the Night?
Yeah.
Let's not try to be so grand and not try to be so big, but at the same time figure out what our best strengths are.
Yep.
And I feel like ultimately, it's funny. I used to work for Jeremy Parrish, who's now at US Gamer, and he is a huge fan of this game, and we have a lot in common over this thing because of. Or we just found a lot of common ground over this game in particular because of how it uses its economy and just how smart it kind of does what it wants to be. It is what it wants to be.
Yeah, like things like every enemy that you just saw on screen at the same time right here is just very cool. They're very creative. Some of them are giant sprites. You know, you kind of get away from that sort of hard sprite look that the first two games had, where it was extremely blocky. Here, there was a little more detail in the way they were shaded and designed and stuff like that. So whereas I feel like the last one would have had a hard outline around them, and the first one would have sort of just been a little blockier looking. Like this Minotaur right here, he's just really cool looking. Like they designed his back and the hair on his feet and stuff like that.
Yep. And look at Soma's walk animation. I mean, even that says to me they figured it out, right? I mean, it looks so much like Alucard's from Symphony of the Night. It flows really well, whereas like in Circle of the Moon, it was the stiffest thing you've ever seen.
Yep.
In Harmony of Dissonance, because of the color palette, it looked almost jokey. Whereas in this one, it feels just right. Like it looks just right.
The walk animation's great too. Look at that swagger.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's got a very there we go.
He's got that Soul Train walk.
Yeah. Perhaps. Oh yeah, I have the double jump. What am I doing?
You have to have
It's been a little bit. Yeah, no, it's definitely a must-have ability.
And that's what I love about all these games is that when you start and when you end, you have very different characters, and just the ability that Soma has by the end of this game to just fly around this castle is so cool, and it makes it so backtracking never really feels like a huge pain in the ass when you do it. Now they do set up sort of like transportation portals every now and then, but I do love the fact that this character gets fast. He gets quick. His jumps get insane. His attacks get even better and better.
Yeah, and you're in control of a lot of that.
Yeah. So flying through old areas doesn't ever feel like a huge chore.
All right, let's dip down here and see what's going on. Ooh, this killer doll just does not want to go down. I do have a really powerful weapon in an axe, but yeah, the evil butcher. It's kind of a weird one. Oh, I left something up there. Oh, I can't get it though. I don't have the slide. All right, I'm going back. Let's see if we can find a boss battle really quick. Yeah, but even something as subtle as like this mist here. It just looks really good. And I just killed a flea man, who are some of the most annoying enemies in Castlevania.
Always have been.
Ever. Yeah. That and Medusa. It's just like,
yeah, I think this was really cool for me to play games like this because I grew up in the original Castlevanias, and they were hard as hell. And these were hard too, but they were sort of attainable goals to beat because it didn't just feel like you're walking from left to right and defeating bad guys and hoping to stay alive. There were checkpoints, there were saves, there were new items, there were upgrades. It wasn't just... it was sort of this was a natural evolution of the Castlevanias we grew up playing, and we got 3 really good ones on GBA.
Ooh, and we got a boss fight coming up, so we're actually going to show you that. Let me just see if the room to the right is a save room. And if it isn't, we'll just do a quick save state through the magic of computers. Now, even little things like notice the archway above and how it's flashing because of the light.
Yep.
And when I finish the save, that light is gone. Like little details like that, I just, in hindsight, maybe I didn't notice it on a tiny screen. Ooh, I just got cut by the evil butcher. But, all right, so here we go. Let's fight this boss. I will admit, though, that Aria is a little easier of the 3. I feel like Aria was the one that it didn't bother me to finish it more than once because it didn't feel like a huge chore. And I never did go for the 100% save file in this game or completion file, but I feel like it's one of the few that I'd be willing to try.
Sure.
The only other game being Symphony of the Night, which I think, one day I will do it. I just have not yet.
This boss is awesome. As you can see, every part of his body is individually animated as its own sprite. And the game's sort of treating them like they're all connected at points and making this one gigantic beast, which is just really cool to see. Like,
God.
Again, this is something you wouldn't really see at the Game Boy Advance's launch.
Yeah.
Not to this extent. There were big characters in Circle of the Moon and Harmony, but...
Got him.
Oh, man. Even the way they fall apart is really cool.
Let's see if I can get a nice freeze on that trench coat. Look at that. That looks so good. All right. He's gone. Let's see what I get as a result. Slide. We're pressing down A. All right. So
we just asked him for that.
Yep. Safe. So now I can go get that. Oh, look. So I can go get that vial that's upstairs for the health. But anyway, there you have it, folks. This is Aria of Sorrow. Hands down, the best Castlevania on GBA. One of the best portable Castlevanias in general. Probably you would not see a better game until the DS. And hopefully one day we can do a Let's Play of those games and show you why we feel those are as awesome as they are. But for more Castlevania Let's Plays, keep it right here at IGN.
That's right.